Hello Animorphs fans and welcome back to the Animorphs Reviews YouTube channel. There's been an Animorphs movie sort of update. Yeah, it's another one of those sort of updates where it's not really an actual update, it's just a rumour floating around. Very specifically, a rumour. Michael Grant here put up a post on Twitter yesterday. This is rumour, but may be true. Picture Start is looking to make Animorphs a comedy about the kids all grown up. If true, this is Hollywood vandalising IP to cover their own lack of ideas or talent. If true. There's an awful lot to unpack here. And it's unleashed a can of worms, really. And whether that's deliberate or not, I'm not sure. Because I will say, I'm not going to say who said it. It wasn't me. I've had somebody say to me that it might just be drumming up some discussion, gearing us up for something big coming up. I personally don't believe that. I genuinely think Michael Grant has been hearing rumours, because he's not involved in the project, so he's not getting direct messages, so he'll be feeding off scraps, essentially. And he could well be wrong. He could have misheard something, but I think if it was just a slight rumour, he wouldn't post it on Twitter, so there's got to be something behind it. This has not been a popular revelation. If you just look at the Twitter post and the comments below it, yeah, it's not popular at all. In fact, even on my own page, I did a poll saying what Michael Grant has put up and asking whether people like the idea. And so far, I mean, it's only been up for a few hours, so far 45 people have voted and not a single person likes the idea. 71% say this is going to be like Velma, isn't it? We talked about Velma very recently, that Scooby-Doo remake where Velma, well, they're all in high school and they're all really unlikable characters and everyone hates it. Now, is Animorphs going to be like that? Apparently, a lot of people think, oh, it's going down that road, mate. It's going down that road. This is dangerous stuff here. Is it going to be like that? I remain one of the more optimistic people. I mean, I greeted the news with... I mean, how did I greet the news, my dear? You were there when I found it. My dear?
What?
When I first told you about it, did I seem happy about it, or...
No.
No?
You're like, oh, they're gonna ruin it.
Yeah, so... And you think the same as well, don't you?
If they turn it into something woke, I'm not watching it.
Okay. I hope it doesn't go like that, but I have got some ideas, and hear me out. I don't think these are... I mean, we're early days, but before I go into my ideas of where I think this is going, let me just speculate. Sorry about my phone. There's a lot going on underneath the surface here, isn't there? There's just these little tidbits of stuff coming out where you think that there is movement beneath the surface going on, like this sort of stuff. So Michael Grant is hearing rumours about what direction the Animal movie is going in. We still haven't got the Apple Grant website. Why? That's been delayed for probably the best part of a year now. Was it August when it was due to come out? Certainly a good significant portion of a year, that's been delayed. There's been no real news on the Animorphs front, but you also had Michael Grant saying that there was an open writing assignment, an OWA, and we've covered that before. That was a couple of months ago, where he said the studio is opening the ideas to a number of writers to come up with a new script. Maybe that's where this whole thing has come from. It just feels to me that everything is being just held back to the point where, bang, here's your first bit of big news, and it's all going to come at once. The website will go up. We'll get the freaking name of the writer in, and we'll get stuff like that. That's what it feels like to me. I could be wrong, but it feels like there's a lot of information just waiting for that last little bit before it all comes bang in one big step forward. And I hope that's the case. I hope that there is a lot of stuff going on beneath the surface that we're not privy to yet, that it's all going to come forward. But of course, I haven't got any Hollywood insiders. And quite frankly, even Michael and Catherine are just, I don't think they're really clued in on what's going on. So what hope do I have, or any of you? So that's where we are at the moment in terms of movie activity in general. Michael Grant did put another comment on this tweet thread, and it goes like this. No one at Scholastic, let alone Picture Start, has the first clue what Animorphs was and is. It doesn't fit into any of their boxes, so they'll chop it up until it does. Very harsh words from Michael. But Michael is very... what's the right word? He's very emotional when it comes to initial reactions. And I think that's just his Twitter side. Because people act a bit different on Twitter. I think he's being very... Because to be fair to Michael and Catherine, if you feel like something bad is going to happen to something that you created, you'd feel pretty shit. So, yeah, Michael probably does have this big concern of, oh, what are they going to do with this thing that I created? What are they going to do to this thing? So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a bit angry and he's going to type some stuff that maybe is hyperbolic. Fair enough. We've all done it. There's a lot to be said about the fact that they sold the IP to Scholastic in the first place, which I believe both of them have said they regretted. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. That's what I recall, is that they regretted doing that. Where would Animorphs be if they hadn't? Who knows? Who knows? But just on this point where he says nobody at Scholastic or Picture Start knows about Animorphs, I just want to put something forward to you. I did a little bit of investigation. If you go on to Picture Start's Twitter and you go on following, so pages that they follow, they've got a lot of Animorphs stuff here. So Michael Grant, of course, they've got him. Splinter Smith, I know, is Animorphs. Sanson Carrasco, Animorphs fan. Critical Drinker, which interests me, because he's very much against films being butchered. And I looked through this earlier, and there's... You just wait for it, you just wait for it. Here we go. So firstly, Picture Start follows David Mattingly, who is the cover artist. But then look at these follows here. Animorphs Out of Context, Minds at Yerk Podcast, Dork Bajia, Fandalites Podcast, Animorphs. You right over there, my dear? Animorphs Movie. I'm pretty sure there was another couple in here somewhere as well. They follow quite a lot of Animorphs pages on Twitter, specifically Animorphs podcasts and Animorphs fans. They are watching actual genuine Animorphs fans material, which gives me the impression that somebody at Picture Start at least is saying, let's see what the fans are saying. Let's see where they're going with this. And if they're listening to podcasts or paying attention to podcasts and all these different Animorphs fans, then there's some interest going into that. So Michael Grant saying, oh, nobody at Picture Start knows anything about Animorphs, what it was and what it is, I think is Michael Grant being hyperbolic again, which he's very good at being. Sorry, Michael, but your Twitter page is a laugh sometimes. All in all, this movie, I feel, is about to take that big next step. I think we're still well on the way to an actual movie happening. About it being a comedy of the kids all grown up, that raises some questions. Initially, I was very much, why would they do that? Why on earth would they do that? That sounds like a terrible idea. And basically everyone agrees. What were the scores on here? 7% my concern levels have neither risen or fallen. Sorry, I'll move that. Inevitable, one movie can't do the original series justice. I don't care, just make something. 71% said it's going to be like Velma. Which, yeah, shit. But hear me out. I had a thought today. The TV series, okay? We as Animorphs fans don't really like it. It has some level of charm to it, and some of the ingredients that we like, and it's good for a laugh. And let's be honest, the tone was different than it was in the books. The books were very dark and grim. I'd say it was more comedic than the books were. They were certainly more light-hearted. It wasn't as grim, you know, it was more fun. There was more attempts at being funny. Would I label the TV series as comedy? No, not really. But it tried. It tried. What else do we know about the TV series? It never finished. It never finished. Look at the book series. If the kid, you can't have all kids all grown up because Rachel's dead. Tobias fucked off with all the money.
Disclaimers.
Disclaimers.
What if somebody didn't read all the way through? Spoiler.
Well, fuck them. They're probably Honda Jazz drivers. My dear. Or Belgian. Well, where the bloody hell was I? You distracted me, woman.
Well, you're being a tit.
True. You can't take that book series, take after that book series and turn it into a comedy. It just wouldn't work. The kids they've got all this trauma, PTSD from being in a war and killing loads of people and seeing people being killed, doing the kill. You get it, right? That is not the normal ingredient for a comedy. The TV series didn't have that. The TV series was much more light-hearted, much more comedic, and it didn't finish. All the kids are still alive. They could all still grow up. Look at this. I saw this the other day. Ren and Stimpy or Rugrats. Study shows state's most popular Nickelodeon shows. When it comes to the most popular and nostalgic Nickelodeon shows in history, a mirthful study shows that the majority of the country is divided. Reviewing data from Google Trends, Shaneco recently tallied the top searched throwback Nickelodeon shows in each state over the past year. And bearing in mind this study was done in 22. So basically very recent. Those are the most popular retro Nickelodeon shows overall, and I believe this was basically shows before 2005 from what I remember. Animorphs is one of them. It's at the bottom of the list, but when the list is Danny Phantom, Ren and Stimpy, SpongeBob, Rugrats, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Avatar Last Airbender, and Animorphs. It's the most popular retro Nickelodeon show in 2 states, my dear. Well, there's the map. So Animorphs is the most popular retro show from Nickelodeon in Washington and Michigan. Is that Michigan? Oh, it's Minnesota. Minnesota. Does that surprise you?
Nobody really thinks about Minnesota.
Nobody thinks about Minnesota. Well, anyone from Minnesota, don't worry, she's Canadian. She doesn't know shit. For this study, the team at Shaneco used search interest on Google Trends to map out the top searched retro Nickelodeon shows in every US state. Keep reading to see if any of your childhood favourites made the cut. So Animorphs was among that list. Which is crazy, really. I don't know how it's done it. It's certainly not a British thing, but it's landed on the most popular Nicktoons and shows overall list. How? But obviously, I mean, the study is there. It's in the list. It does make me wonder, and I was thinking this, how many people watched the series opposed to how many people read the books? Has anyone ever actually looked into that? What was more popular, the books or the TV series? Popular is probably not the right word. Which one is more well known? The books or the TV series? I mean, obviously you got the memes for the books, but in terms of people remembering it, which one's... Freaking Washington and Minnesota remember it. So, my thought is this. Assuming they're turning this into an all grown-up comedy, they're not going to be using the books. They're going to be using the TV show. And that will allow them to use the same actors from the original TV show, like Shawn Ashmore. Imagine Jake being played by Shawn Ashmore again, but now they're older. Of course, it wouldn't be canon to the books, but I think this is a better scenario than the one people are imagining, where it is canon from the books. I think if you take the TV series and give it an end, I mean, it doesn't excite me, But I'm not completely disappointed by it either. Certainly less disappointed than if they used the book canon to make an all grown-up comedy. If they used the TV series, I'll be like, okay, so they finished off the TV series. Because it just ended, didn't it? In Changes, the 3-part, it just ended. We never saw a conclusion. If we get out of all this Animorphs movie stuff, a conclusion to the Animorphs TV series, where they reference how bad it was, how much everyone hated it, they blow up that Andalite disc with a fucking Dracon beam, and they bring a Taxon in at some point, and the CGI is actually like... Well, they use CGI for the aliens, or at least decent puppets. If they can turn the TV series around and give it a decent send-off, then I think it would be worth it. Maybe that's my optimistic side coming out. Is that me being optimistic, my dear? So this is where I am with this. This video's gone on probably longer than it should, but this is big news. Let's be honest. This is some of the biggest stuff we've had recently, and it's all come from a rumour, but it floats so many questions. And if true, I hope this is the route we go down. That we conclude the TV series. Because the books had their conclusion. If they can right the wrongs of the TV series, bring it back, have a bit of banter with the old fans, say, we get it, it was crap, here's a few references, and here it is in a better form, I think I would be satisfied. If, on the other hand, they do what Michael Grant fears, and they use the actual canon and turn it into a, well, hey, look at us, we're suffering from trauma, banter, lads. Yeah, that's actually going to make me vomit. Projectile everywhere, on the wife, on the sofa, on the walls, on the cats, everywhere, forever and ever. Amen. Right?
She's not impressed.
Lila's not impressed. Good kitty. But yeah, that will be the rest of my life, just projectile vomiting. More so than I already do. Not literally, my dear. Verbal.
Every time you talk.
Yeah, every time I talk, yeah. Right, it's probably about time I ended this video. So yeah, that surprised me. And I saw this. Again, it's coincidence. Why is everything coincidence to me? Not that it's on this channel before, but same thing happened at work where I'm thinking about, why don't we set up a sports club for the group of people I work with? I went downstairs and the boss is looking up, how do we incorporate sports into our facilities? And I was like, what a coincidence. There we go. Maybe it's Jesus talking to me.
But you'll sprain your ankle again.
I'll sprain my ankle. I won't play and I'll be shouting. I'll be shouting from the sidelines. Kick the fucking ball in the back of the fucking net, you prick. Prick. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I saw this study yesterday for the first time, and then the Michael Grant thing comes out, and it's almost like fate is talking to me. Fate, my dear. Maybe I should become religious. I'm religious for your love. Oh, don't cringe. Right, we're ending this video. Thank you very much for watching, and give us your thoughts, because this is... do my ideas intrigue you? Would you be satisfied if all this movie did was just give us a good send-off for the TV series, which none of us liked, but, you know, give it a nice ending, because we never got one. That's just my thought, and I'm being optimistic here, because it was a shock bit of news. If true, as Michael Grant says 3 times, if true, this isn't confirmed. Right, so, thank you very much for watching. Less rambling from me, less rambling from her. Ta-ra.